Bill Roberts. You made it, my friend. It's good to see you.
You're on mute, Bill.
He is on mute.
Thank you, Melissa.
Welcome.
Always have my back. Thank you.
Bill, if you don't mind, do you mind giving me host?
Please.
Co-host control. Just
Yeah, how do I do that? Where do I see that?
if you go over to my three dots, you can add the make co-host if the option is selected.
Let's see. The thing is, I don't see three dots.
Right.
Melissa, how do we do it today?
If you go to the bottom, Bill, to
Yeah.
participants, you can do the same thing. So if you click all the participants
True.
and then just hover over Walter's name, you should be able to do the same thing.
Awesome.
Well,
Thanks.
Make co-host. Kaboom.
Bam.
There you are.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Em. Nice.
So, Bill, we were just running this over on the wholesale mastermind. So let me actually change my background.
Yep.
And we invited a bunch of our friends over.
Yeah.
So it should be.
Can you check to get them approved? Because there's some people that came over that I'm not aware of.
Yes. So anybody that I see, I will bring through if I see them in the waiting room.
Yeah.
Any names I recognize. All my favorite people are here already.
Awesome.
Ryan McDermott, your name says Melissa Darling. I don't know if that's correct.
My link.
Oh, okay.
I like a Google Calendar invite.
Yeah.
Nope.
So
Melissa gets the affiliate commission.
Right? I know I approved you like 6 times to come in.
Chris Hayward, you're also operating off of Melissa Darling's link. You know, Bill, this is actually a great way for us to know who brought everybody over.
Right? It really is.
You can edit your name though, right?
Yep.
Yeah, you guys can edit your name.
I like my name. I'll go with it.
The hosts can also edit other people's names.
I can also edit your name, so just be careful.
Right.
May decide.
That's awesome. All right. I just want to make sure we get everybody in here that we're letting in. I want to make sure everybody gets in.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Cool.
And I think you have to check, Bill, I don't know where it is. Is it in your email that people are getting notifications?
I'm getting them in my email, yeah, which
Okay.
is over here on the screen.
All right. Yeah, I'll watch the participant side and you watch your email. And for anybody who's named themselves edit my name, you're in trouble.
Andy Ramirez, you know
Who is it?
him? Andy Ramirez.
Yes, he's one of our investors.
All right, let me
Bring him in.
let's see. What about Will Wall?
Oh yeah, that's another one. Yep.
Will Wall. Beyonce Shea?
Yep. Beyonce Chase from our meetup.
Nice. Ernesto Hernandez.
Yes, another good one.
Elizabeth Miller.
Oh yeah, she's cool.
Perfect. Pedro Flores.
Pedro's good. Yep.
Nice. Gary Rist.
Yes.
Nice. I'm gonna do my best with this. Abhishek Parikh.
Yes.
Did I nail it?
No.
That's all right.
It was very close.
All right.
Almost
Cool.
there.
And Courtney Weiss.
Yes.
Nice. All right.
I think Courtney's also an agent.
I just approved them all.
Cool.
Something went
Excellent.
wrong. Please refresh the page. Great.
So now if you look at Chris Hayward's name, it says shiny brother from another mother. So that's what he gets.
That's awesome.
And Ryan McDermott is now Ryan McDermott, guest of Melissa. Perfect.
Yeah, got to give my props.
Great job. We got Brian Dunstan here, Kevin Ferrer, we saw you sneak in, Ted Mahoney, Brian Allenby, Darina, always welcome. Jill Ripley, good to see you. Love the money signs. Check it out. Melanie, great question on the last one. Phenomenal question. If you want to ask it again later for the same group, is it okay with me? It gives me a chance to say the same thing. I love it because it's a valuable
Okay.
question. And I'll just admit these guys. Excellent.
All right, we got about 54 attendees.
Awesome.
Nice.
So Bill, I'll let you open things. I'll keep an eye on the waiting room. I'll keep bringing them in for you.
All right, cool. All right, well, let's get rolling. First of all, welcome everybody. Welcome back, man. It's been a long time since we've done this. We're excited to do this. I did get word the other day that we can do this in a group outside. Just we're cautious about that. We know a lot of people are. We want to make sure everybody feels comfortable with it. So we're going to be thinking about that. But right now we're going to do the Zoom meetings and we welcome everybody back. So I hope everybody's been well over the summer. It's been a crazy 2020. But I tell people when they tell me they can't find any deals, I tell them to shut the TV off and go find your deals because, you know, we're not going to get political here or in the news or anything like that. But you got to stay focused and you got to hang out with the like-minded individuals to keep your mojo going, for sure. So tonight's speaker, of course, is my good friend Gualter Amorello. Gualter is a class act, multimillionaire, self-made. He's got a wonderful book out, Broke to $250,000. I've listened to it several times. I do a lot of driving, so I have a lot of audiobooks, and I would highly recommend you get that and listen to that. There it is there. There it is there. I took a screenshot, but I don't know how to share the screen, so boom, you got it.
But don't worry, Bill. I got the book right here. Broke to
That's
$250,000. The point is not to work; it's to generate income.
Yeah, and think about that because that's really cool. I quit my job when I was 55. I'm now 49, so it's working for me. You know, we're getting older, but we keep going. We met a lot of good people on here. These groups are really fantastic. Gualter has a ton of real groups, but tonight Gualter's going to talk about finding deals because that's what we're hearing out here, man. Is that a lot of people can't find the deals, and they are out there. They're not as plentiful as they were. We gotta pick. We gotta be more choosy now because we don't know where the economy's going. It is an election year, but right now it is strong. So if you can buy something and make money on it, it's going to sell right away if you do a good job on the rehab. If you're sitting on a property, and I think, and Gualter back me up on this, if you're sitting on a property that's for sale for a while, you're either priced too high or the quality's just not there. So
Yeah.
it's worth it to spend a little extra to get the quality there so you can get rid of it. I look at my business this way, and then I'll carry it over to Gualter, but I look at my business, I'm in the business of flipping money. I just do it with real estate. And that's really what it is. You borrow money, you put it to use, you finish the job, you sell the deal, and you give back the money plus profit. You make a profit. You get homeowner wins. You get contractors, electricians, plumbers, all these tradesmen that are employed. I mean, it's amazing what you do. So keep that stride, keep that mentality. But tonight we're going to learn how to get the deal. So Gualter Amorello, gentleman from Fall River, invests only in Fall River, starting to branch out now to different states, but he's making it happen. Young man, for sure. Started when you were 30?
I was
27?
28 when I bought my
28.
first 3-family. Yep.
Yeah. So we'll let Gualter tell you his story, but I just, I'm honored to have you on again, Gualter, and it's always a pleasure speaking with you and texting with you, for sure.
Give Bill Roberts a round of applause. He is a phenomenal friend, a phenomenal real estate investor, inspiration in the community. He has built a meetup group in Middleborough, which didn't have anything. It was an open gap in the state, and had 10 people, then 20 people, then 50 people, and was pushing towards 100 before COVID started. So Bill is back into the Zoom world because he sees this is where we all are for now. So give Bill a round of applause. Definitely appreciate this, the friendship and the opportunity. Thank you, my friend.
No, you're welcome, my friend. Thank you.
So what Bill said about finding deals, it's true. We're still finding deals. We're still buying deals. In fact, Bill and his friend Elliot, his business partner, are somebody who actually, I think we're probably at $1 million we've borrowed from them currently in active deals. These are not little deals either. These are good paying deals. We're talking 11 units 8 units, multiple buildings. It's a total of 5 properties that they've jumped in with us on, and the profit margin is high. Like Bill, said it when he looked at them with Elliot, and he said, "Wow, like these are pretty good deals. How'd you find them?" And it's like, well, we got our ways. We've got some tactics, we've got some tricks, and one of the best strategies to find deals, I'm going to share a little bit later on, but it's, if you don't know how to do it, you're missing out. If you don't know how this strategy works in this business, in this market, you're missing out. And it does involve teaching. It does involve leverage. It involves being open-minded. Drew Martin on a previous call hinted at it, and I'll be talking about it a little bit later. And it isn't Google Ads. It is a lot of the traditional stuff. Before I jump into it, I got to tell a story. And since Bill already mentioned, I wrote the book, Broke to a $250,000. I'm a storyteller. This was all about how I built my first $250,000. Who here would like to have a $250,000 net worth within the next 2 years? Excellent. Who would like to add another $250,000 in the next month? There's a few of you. All right. So we're in the right room. This is the room to be building wealth in. Everybody in here, drop in the chat. This is your chance to promote, to advertise. Drop in the chat what you would like, your perfect deal. Type it in the chat and then put your contact information. By the way, this is also a trick and a tip that you can use to get deals in any event that you're actually at in Zoom. This is a hack. This is a future hack for the present moment. Just type in, "Hi, my name is, and I'm looking for a deal like this. Please text or call," and insert your number. This works in any Zoom meeting, any Facebook group. You can utilize this everywhere, and it's going to increase your deals right now, today, instantly. But that's not the training. That's just a little free hack. Is it cool that I give free little tips as I go through? That there's more than just the average in the beginning? Excellent. I love it. First story. Well, just imagine. Here I was, young gun, just lost my wife, killing it in life, totally negative 25,000. Who here has credit cards, has stacked them up strong? So I thought I was good at building credit card debt. I thought for a moment that in life that was my mission. Just, stack up credit card debt, ruin relationships, miss out things on life. And so I remember I was driving one day, driving down the road in my truck, my beat up truck that I'd owned for 12 years that I kept. In my head, I was doing the Warren Buffett thing saying, yeah, I'm just, making it last, beating it into the ground, getting every dollar out of it. But in reality, I was not capable of affording anything else. And I think at some level I knew that, and my frugality was coming from a place of scarcity. It was coming from a place of, I have no idea how to afford anything other than this paid off vehicle. Does that make sense? And so I'm driving and it's creaking a little bit. The car's shaking because it's almost at 200,000 miles. And, it's a Ford, so they're not supposed to do that. They're not supposed to go that far. Acronyms for Ford found on Road Dead. You can drop yours in the chat as long as they don't use the F word. And I don't mind if you do. It's fine. So as I'm driving down the road and I'm looking, something hit me. It was in the bottom, worst part of my life. I was driving down right after the divorce, and I look to the left and I see a house, normal house, 3-family in Fall River. And I think for a moment, what's that probably worth? I had my license. I was a real estate agent, so I knew it was probably worth about $250,000 at the time. And then I looked over at the one on the left side of me, and I thought, wow, that one's probably worth $250,000. And then I drove, and not 10 feet down the road, there was another 2 on either side, and another 2 in the whole block. There was 5 on each side. Anybody familiar with these blocks? You've been down one of those roads before? You ever been in a moment in your life where you realized you had absolutely no cash, no dollar bills, and yet you just drove down a street with $1 million on either side of it, 1.2 million on either side of the road, and something in you just, it's like, how is this possible? There's so much wealth, and yet something I've been doing has avoided it. Because it's all about your habits, right? At the end of the day, if you're in good shape, it's because you probably worked out. If you have good cholesterol, it's probably because you're eating the Cheerios. If you have decent relationships, it's probably because you think about the things that that person wants. And if your money situation isn't where you want it, it's probably because you haven't set up the right habits. And the money habits, the deal habits, they're not too different from each other. So finding deals is only as good as knowing what to do with the deals. We agree? Finding a bunch of deals wouldn't help if you didn't know how to convert them, if you didn't know how to make money off of them. That's true. So I found that in that moment, I was surrounded in millions. Every block had $4 or $5 million worth of real estate. And I didn't own much of it. I did own 2 houses at the time. So I was doing better than some people. But I was also a broke agent. I had made $17,000 that year. And there was this super low moment followed by a completely zen, peaceful, detached, separated from everything else moment, where on both blocks, on both sides of me, there was $10 million. In front of me, another 10 million, another 10 million, another 10 million. And I realized, and write this down, the key to wealth is not how much money you have. It's how many deeds your name is on. Write this down. The key to wealth is not how much money I have. It's how many deeds my name is on. And with that awareness, my mind started thinking differently. It started operating differently. Has anybody had a moment in life where something snapped, something changed, a little piece of information had a big, massive effect that made you see the whole world clearly? Yes. So I'm not the only one. I believe they call them paradigm shifts. And so this paradigm shift was hitting me. And I want it to hit you. I want you to have this moment with me and share it. Because if you can just focus on getting your name on the deed, none of the other stuff, forget all the other gurus, forget all the other fluff that's out there, all the Facebook marketing campaigns and all the different ideas, and just focus on the one thing. The true fact to real estate is name on deed. That's it. We say it. We make our money on the purchase. Right? Who knew that before I said it? We make your money on the purchase. Excellent. You guys have been paying attention. You don't make your money on the sale. You make your money on the purchase. And what is the purchase? It's signing your name on the deed. That's the difference between the richest people on the planet and the poorest people on the planet. Poorest people on the planet don't have any names on deeds. Richest people on the planet have their names on everything. Deeds, businesses, they've got loans, they've got equity, they've got responsibility. So when we talk about real estate investing, wholesaling comes up. Who here has heard of wholesaling? Wholesalers out there, who wants to wholesale some property? Absolutely. The key to wholesaling is, again, getting your name on something, getting your name on the purchase and sale with the intent to eventually get your name on the deed. And sometimes you sell it to somebody else and their name goes on the deed. They make all the money. So in wholesaling, you're making somebody else rich, which is okay, because the key to getting yourself wealthy is to make other people wealthy, give other people what they're looking for. In order to get your name on more deeds, you've got to help out the people who have the deeds. We agree? Sellers are our customers? Excellent. So we're in the right place. Before I teach you how to find deals, how to market, the right systems, and Melanie had a great question on the other chat. I'm going to answer that question again. Which marketing strategy should I use, and how often should I change my marketing strategies or adjust them? We're going to talk about that a little bit later. But before we get into marketing, you've got to understand the whole point in marketing. It's names on deeds. We all agree. That's the magic. It's the simplest version of real estate investing is name on deed. Cool. Anybody ever tell you this before? Has this been said? Excellent. Well, okay. Best looking guy. That's because you had a good mentor. So getting your name on the deed, when you start thinking in this manner, you start realizing your marketing campaign has to be going to the right people, the people whose names are already on the deeds. Anybody else is a waste of time. Everybody else is an extra step. So success is about removing extra steps. You've heard that the middleman makes all the money. Yes? You want to be the middleman. You want to be the person who converts, and that's what wholesaling is in the beginning. It's you being the middleman, the person between the seller and the new owner, or the seller and the potential future seller. And then eventually you become the transition from they're the seller to you're the owner, getting your name on the deed. The closer you can get to a name on deed, the better. Wholesaling is practice. Being a real estate agent is practice. It's a way to practice the exercise of getting those names transferred off of deeds. Does that make sense? So part of deal finding is understanding why a person might sell a deal. Part of deal hunting is understanding your prey. Does that make sense? When we start thinking about sellers as prey, right? Well, they're the client. We should be treating them with respect and loving them. Well, yes. But first, we got to find them. First, we got to hunt them down. And then we're going to trap them with a bait that they want. Is it okay if this is a slightly aggressive way of looking at sellers? Excellent. We're in the right room. If you think about it this way, they're just looking to be caught. They really are. They're sitting out there anyway, in the same pond as everybody else, sitting on their $250,000, their $1 million, their $500,000, whatever their property value is, when depending on the market you're in. They're sitting out there hoping to be caught. Any good trapper knows that if you put a good bait in the trap or within the vicinity, the prey will come along. And so what is the goal of a seller? 3 things, write it down. There are 3 goals that every seller has. 1, they want more money. This is what we believe is the main goal. It typically is not. But 1 is they want more money. 2 is they want less responsibility. This is sometimes a strong goal. 3, they want to be somewhere else. Those are the 3. Those are the 3 motivating points. Money, work, location. Typically, people sell for the last one. Typically, people sell to change location. Does this make sense? What is the 3 rules of real estate? Location, location, location. It hasn't changed when you're dealing with sellers. The problem most wholesalers run into, most real estate agents run into, is they think that the seller is selling for price. That is not the reason people sell. That's why investors sell. We're selling for price. But everybody else is selling because they want to change location. And then sometimes they can't handle the property. Now, I'm not a big fan of investing in properties that need a lot of work. This goes against what a lot of gurus tell you when it comes to driving for dollars. I don't like driving for dollars because you're just finding problems. This makes sense? Driving for dollars means you're finding broken homes. I don't like broken homes. I'm somewhat lazy as an investor. I like people who want to change their location and want to change yesterday. They want it gone. They want out, but they have found a financial situation. They have found a problem. And this is where the game starts. Most people who sell at a discount, and this is a very specific niche, this is understanding your prey. Most people who sell at a discount sell because they're not comfortable with lots of people. I have found that the people who sell to an investor are selling because they don't want their neighbors to know. They're selling to an investor because they don't want other people in their house. They're not very trusting to begin with. Investors on the line, has this been true to you? Have you heard this before, that they worked with you because they didn't want another person in the room, in the house? Excellent. So you're dealing with a typically, because the more people you know, the more options you have. The less people you know, the less options you have. So understanding that they're in their home, they don't really like people too much, but they typically don't like their location either. These are signs. These are signs that you got the right person. Now that we know this, I want to jump into the motivation factor, the little sizzle factor. The reason they're going to call you is because you're the person who made the request. Forget your LLCs. We talked about in the last one. Forget your LLCs. Forget your big professional real estate investment company. They're going to call you because you're a personal person asking for a favor. So when you write your mailers, when you make your phone calls, when you do your text messages, when you do your RVM, you're a human being who's looking to buy a house in their location. Write this down. I'm looking to buy a house. I love your property. I could see myself working on that house. I could see myself owning it for a long time. It's a sort of property that I buy. This is my kind of deal. And I can tell you've taken really good care of it. May not always be true. But the idea is that you're showing them that you love something that they love. People give discounts because they like you. That's the truth. People give discounts because they like you and they trust you. They don't give discounts because you outsmarted them, right? They kill deals because you outsmarted. Eventually they catch up, right? Deals take 30 days, 45 days. So we understand the process. We understand kind of the background, the theory behind the person in the home. We were just talking on a call, mailers. Mailers are one of my favorite pieces. And in the mentorship, you've heard, anybody who's in the mentorship, hands to the camera if you've been through the mentorship, graduated, are still in it, running with us. Excellent. You hear us talk all the time about marketing and having other people do marketing for you. I believe that being a coach, being a trainer is the best way to build a business, because you're not just kicking the ladder down behind you. You're saying, here's how you can become successful as well. If you're not already training wholesalers how to wholesale, this is your chance to learn how to do it. I want you to take the notes for yourself. If you've not done a deal yet, take the notes for yourself, but be in the back of your mind thinking, I'm going to learn it, do it, then teach it. Learn it, do it, teach it. Write this one down. This is the process to success in scaling this business. Learn it, do it, then teach it. So the key is growth. Yes, it's harder to find a deal. That's true. But the profit margins on the deal has gone up. Bill, if you can unmute your phone for a second, we've seen housing prices increase and inventory decrease. Fair to say?
Yeah.
So our profit margins are higher now. So we can pay more per deal. Fair to say?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Right.
Give Bill Roberts a round of applause.
In fact, you have to.
You have to.
You have to.
And so when you're teaching your next generation, when you're doing this yourself, just think, okay, I'm not going to get as many deals as before. Maybe I'll spend more money on marketing to make up for that. I'll spend more time, more aggression, build bigger teams. But the idea is when I lock a deal down, I'm going to have more money on the other side. There's more meat on the bone because the prices are increasing. Interest rates are low. Inventory is low. So every deal I find is a higher profit margin. That's how we operate in this market. It's not as voluminous as it used to be before. Perfect. That eliminates anybody who's not willing to spend that money. Anybody who's not willing to get bigger lists. Anybody who's not willing to put more time in. Is this making sense? I'm not saying you have to. What I'm suggesting is learning how to, teaching it, and then learning how to, doing it, and then teaching it. Forgot my own 3 principles. Learn it, do it, teach it. Building a team. Who here has built a team before in anything? Anything, whether it was volleyball or a company. I know Melanie's very good at building teams. Ryan, Darina, Melissa, Bill, Greg. Excellent. Give yourselves a round of applause. If you can build a team in anything, you can build a team in wholesaling, in real estate investing, and agency. And so the key to building a team is, one, you got to be successful yourself. You got to lock down one deal. If you lock down one deal, you can now teach it. I can't stand the gurus who've locked down one deal and taught it. I will say that up front. When they've done one and then they go and they teach a whole course, I think that causes confusion for people down the road. But I do think that if you've gotten at least one, you can now have a conversation. You can be a mentor to people within the group who've never closed a deal. Does that make sense? You can now teach people who have less knowledge than you. Excellent. So if you're teaching people, make sure that you know what you're doing. Now I'm going to talk very fast for a few minutes. I want you to take very good notes. The stuff I'm going to say is in Alchemist University. It's in a program called Get the Deal. It's about 50 videos. So anybody who has access already to the mentorship, you've already got free access to Alchemist University. Hands to the camera if you've already been in there. Seen Get the Deal, probably didn't touch it, didn't go into it, but at least saw that it exists. Yes. Give yourselves a round of applause. The mentorship program is working. Excellent. And we can see who's watched the video. So we can see your progress in there, and we can see your progress in real life, and it correlates pretty well. It seems to be the people who've gone through the trainings are also the people who are being successful. Funny how that works, isn't it? So the Get the Deal step, pens and paper, everybody's got something to take notes in? Yes? Excellent. Very good. If you don't have something to take notes in, you can drop your notes in the chat. It'll just help everybody else out. you've got three main strategies. They are all communication based. Most of them are designed to push information out, and then you receive. Your receiving phone number should be different for each campaign. You can use something like Google. Well, Google will be tough if you're doing multiple, but a lot of people use Google for their bandit signs because they don't want other people to be able to connect to their phone number. I use a program called CallRail. CallRail allows me to create a whole bunch of phone numbers, and I can put them to each different marketing campaign. What I'm going to suggest, and Melanie brought this up earlier, is which campaign do you start with? Should I just do one and expand over time, the same one over and over and pound on that one? Or should I do multiples? If it is multiples, which ones, which order? I hope to answer that question now. It should be one at a time. The most important process is building your list. So the first step for building a list is knowing your type of demographic. You ready? Hands to the camera if you're ready. Know it's ready? You need to know your location. By location, I mean state. From state, you're going to move down to city. From city, you're going to move down to zip code. Very specific. From zip code, you're going to drop into type of property. So state, city, zip code, type of property, and that's all you're going to go after. Once you've figured it out, you've dialed it in, you've gotten the list down to maybe 200, 300 people or buildings, you can potentially expand, but for now, you want to start with a 300, 200 person list. The reason is mailers are the first thing we do. There is a lot of controversy about the effectiveness of mailers, the cost of mailers. That's because a lot of mailers are done the wrong way. I talked about it in the last call. Mistakes, if you write this down, mistakes made in mailers. One, they only send out one mailer. They'll get a list of 1,000 or 2,000 or 5,000, and they'll send it out one time and complain they lost $5,000. Well, one, they sent out one mailer. Two, it was typically postcards. It wasn't the best mailers to get a response. They sent out the easiest, cheapest thing. Now, postcards can be a part of your campaign, and they do count as a touch. What we're about to talk about is a 36 touch. They say that in sales and marketing, people need to be touched 36 times. It used to be 6. It used to be 8. Well, we're in the digital age. There are some people who tell me it's 44. There are some people who are saying it's 100. But we're going to stick to 36. And then you can add your social media pieces on top of that to get to your 100, to get to your 80. This making sense so far? These are the foundational. They will not change for a long period of time. Social media will adjust. Newspaper advertisements have gone away. Radio has gone away. But these will not change. These won't shift for a long period of time. It starts with bandit signs. I hate bandit signs. I do not approve of bandit signs, but I cannot argue with the fact that they work. In every market I've ever seen them put up, bandit signs are effective. Does this make sense? They work. I'm not condoning it. I'm not suggesting that you do it, but I am saying that if you do it, you will make money. So bandit signs, when you're putting them out, make sure you're putting them high. Make sure you're putting them in highly visible areas. Make sure you're placing them often. If you find that your bandit signs look like they have been torn apart, they're in bad shape, please replace them immediately. The last thing you need is for your bandit signs to become vandalism. We want them to make the area look good. One of the most successful things I see real estate agents at is putting up bandit signs. You may think, what do you mean? I've never done that. Agents on the call, sign in the yard means dollar signs, right? Sign in the yard means dollar signs. We're bandit signs. That's what we're doing. So as a real estate agent, if you have property, if you have friends with property and you say, hey, look, can you just let me drop the sign in the yard? I'm not going to put it online. Just let me put the sign in the yard so I can get some calls from some people. Your friends and family should allow you to do this. Now, you don't have to list it, right? It's not listed on MLS. This is just a sign in the yard. It's the same thing with bandit signs, the same thing with agency. Agents, can you think right now of a friend who would let you do this? Maybe a family member, someone who likes you enough to just drop signs in their yard? Yes? Excellent. I know I've done it for people. I know I've done it for myself. I made a lot of money off of just dropping signs in friends' yards. So the bandit signs work. Their best bandit signs are "We Buy Houses." You can't beat it. I know it's the same as everybody else, but it has worked. It's a great slogan. We buy houses. It's very clear, to the point. Sell me your house. We buy houses. This is the strategy that works the best for bandit signs. Doesn't require a list, but it does take about 1,000 to get a deal. So you've got to drop a ton of these things. There you go, Rob.
This is what we post. We put up in every rehab we do.
And it's in your rehab.
Yeah.
Great job, Bill. So that is the idea of a bandit sign. Putting it up in good properties, getting your contractors to put those signs up. If your contractors are doing work in properties, you can ask the contractor, especially landscapers or garage guys, they ask their clients if they can put a sign up. Ask them if they can put your sign up. If they know they're getting the business no matter what, that's another option, is have your local contractors put your signs up when they close a house and offer them a deal. Hey, I'll pay you $20 for, a month for every sign that you can get up in one of your clients' yards. And you can co-brand and say, hey, we buy houses, we do landscaping, we buy houses, we do driveways, we do roofs. It's a marketing tool that is effective, and it gets you into the right neighborhoods that you want to be in. Does this make sense? All you got to do is make some friends and make them some money. It's all about teamwork. Excellent. So we've got bandit signs down. Then you move into mailers. Mailers, once you've built a list is built through listsource.com. You build a list on yellowletters.com. I prefer to build my lists on MLS because it gives me the true structural. I know exactly it's a 3-family, it's a 2-family, it's a 6-family. I'm big into multifamilies. If I was doing single families, I'd be flipping single family ranches, and I'd be flipping single family raised ranches. They're just the easiest models out there. I'm suggesting you do the same, or you get good at colonials, modern colonials. These are simple projects where you go in, the bathroom's on the left, the kitchen's on the right, the 3 bedrooms are over here. It's a very, very simple floor plan. Yes, we know what we're talking about. We know in a raised ranch, there's already a half bath in the basement. I just got to go finish it to make it a bath, add the bedroom, walkout slider, typically there. It makes a very easy turnover, very quick value add. All you do is get the extra square footage from the basement. Is this making sense how knowing one type of property, banging that out would be so easy for your team to go into? Excellent. Some of the problems that I see with a lot of investors is they're after everything, every type of property. It's a sure way to waste a ton of time going on properties you can't figure out, especially capes. Capes are such a tough flip unless you get really good at them and you're good at changing things on the fly. I love the ranch, the raised ranch, the colonial. If it's something that interests you. 2 families, 3 families, 4 families. There's different types of multifamilies out there. If you try to go through all of them, it's hard to make the numbers work on a 2-family unless you're flipping them. So you've got to know your strategy. So it goes back to what we were talking about with type earlier. MLS allows you to pick exactly that type. Some of the other list building companies don't have that kind of detail. Does that make sense? I love the list building companies, but for me and my strategy, I want to spend less time on the wrong properties, more time on the right properties. And I suggest you do the same. So find an agent who has MLS access, have them go to the public data, public record, works in every state, have them go to public record and pull the specific type of property you're looking for, and then drop that list into Excel. If the list is more than 200-300, you may want to reduce. If the list is a little bit too small, you want to pick up extra zip codes. Does that make sense? So that 200-300 range is good. As you expand your company, you just expand zip codes, and then you just expand cities, but you stay in the same type of property that you've made money on. Ron and I have made money on 3 families. It's where most of our money is made. So we love picking up portfolios with 3 families and 4 families. If we pick up a portfolio with a 5-family, guess what we do? We convert it to what we know. We convert it back to a 4-family. A lot of investors think that's crazy. Hands to the camera, we're losing a unit, right? It's because FHA will finance them for more. To sell a 4-family for $350,000 is tough. To sell a 4-family for $350,000 is easy. It's the simplest thing because FHA buyers are out there looking for the 4 because it's the needle in the haystack. There's just not enough of out there in our market, in Fall River, in New Bedford, in Worcester. In these markets, they just don't have them. Fair to say, Massachusetts investors, you know what I'm talking about? Yes. Anywhere else across the state? I know we have people outside of the state. Hands to the camera if you're not from Massachusetts. Excellent. It's in your area too. So it's about the same wherever you are. If you're in Florida, Greg, it's definitely not as many multifamilies. You're playing more with the single families, more in the ranches, the raised ranches. Colonial, I don't think Colonial really hit it out there, but the idea is, you know, your type of property in your area.
There's a lot of multifamilies, but
Oh.
they're a lot different than what they are in the Northeast. And there's definitely no colonials.
No. Colonial's not a popular style in the South. It just didn't make it.
No.
Give Greg a round of applause. He's one of our agents out in Florida. He does a lot of our deals for us. Building that relationship has been phenomenal. So you got your list. You've dialed it down to specifically what you want. Now you're doing mailers. I prefer to see yellow letter mailers. That company has worked really well for us. And they actually will write, it's on a yellow piece of paper with red lettering. It looks like your own writing. No, it's not your writing, but you can make it look like yours in a little signature. The mailer costs about $1 to $1.50. These are expensive. You can also send out little postcards. I like to do the mix. The people I've seen do this best are sending a mix of small postcards. Again, yellow postcards, red letter. So it's those postcards, it's mailers with envelopes stuffed, different sized ones. But you're going to find your most success is on the 5th and 6th mailer. The mailer changes, and that last mailer says, this is my last mailer. I'm not sending any more. It seems that you aren't interested in selling, but just in case you have a change of heart, I'm really interested in buying your house. This is how you reach me, Susan or Walter or Bill or Ryan. Put your name in there. This is not a company again. So change up your mailers, change up the sizes, but make sure you have at least 2 of those stuffed envelope yellow letter mailers. Those are the ones with the highest conversion rate. Is this making sense? There is a right way to do mailers. It is not the cheap way, but you can reduce your cost by sending out some of the postcards. The postcards will only cost you about 50 cents. So if you assume your mailers are going to average around $1 because you're sending some that are $1.50, some that are 50 cents, it averages out to $1. So if you're sending out 500 mailers to a 500 list and you're sending it 6 times, you're spending about $3,000. Does that make sense? You're spending a little bit of money on marketing. It's okay. Next is cold calling. So you're going to send out 6 mailers. Write this down, 6 mailers, 1 per week until the last month. Then you're sending 1 every other week. And it wipes out, it takes about 2 weeks to go through that, 2 months to go through this. You can send that last one. So you can do 1 per week for 3 weeks, then bi-weekly, and then 1 last one after a month. So it's a 3-month campaign. And if you do it this way, it gives them just a little bit of time. You get the first one's pressure, and then there's a little bit of a gap, and they start feeling like, oh, wow, it's been a little while since I heard from them. And now, I mean, they were mailing me every day, every week, and now they're mailing me once every other week, and now it's just this last one, and they're telling me it's the last one. That's usually one that's the clincher. Does that make sense? Excellent. Cold calling. Cold calling on a list of 500, man, it should take you 5 hours. If you've got a dialer like Mojo Dialer and you're spending an hour a day, you can hit through that list in a week. You can hit it in 1 day. If you're spending 5 hours, 4 hours, you can hit through the whole list. This is the problem with lists bigger than 500. It's hard to build relationships. It's hard to get through to people. Does that make sense? You can, over time, hire other people to call bigger lists, but for you, you should be operating a list around 300 to 500 people maximum. 500 is the high end of this because it takes you about 5 hours to get through using something called Mojo Dialer or using Zen Dialer or using Call Tools. These are different dialing programs. They allow you 3 dials at a time, 3 dialing lines. In those 3 dialing lines, you can get to about 100 people an hour. Who here has used a dialer before? Who here knows about the dialers? Who here knows they should be dialing a lot more often? All of us, hands to the camera, exactly. So the dialing system, same script. It's, hey, I'm looking to buy your piece of property. I know you may not be looking to sell right now, but I'm really interested in the property. This would really look good in my portfolio. I could see myself doing some great things with this particular property, and I'd love to own it. Please consider selling it to me. It's okay to beg. It's okay to get desperate. Build a relationship. Take good notes. Take down what they say. Next time you call them, your dialer will tell you who they are, what they said last time. Go deeper in the relationship. It's all about building rapport. Don't be so desperate the next time. Say, hey, I know, be a little more light, right? A little jovial. Last time we talked, I know you weren't interested in selling. I figured it wouldn't hurt to call and say hi and just ask if you know anybody who's looking to sell. Just open it up. Get that question out there to ask. And then on the hang up, oh, by the way, it was great hearing from you. If you know anybody who's looking to sell, please keep me in mind. I'm really looking to improve the neighborhood, looking to do more deals here. Each call gets deeper in the relationship. You learn about their kids, you learn about their family, you learn about their career, you learn about their lifestyle, you learn about their timeline. Eventually, everybody will sell. You can't take it with you. Does this make sense? So you just want to get an idea for the timeline. Let them know, hey, I'm doing some deals. Let them know, hey, I just bought a house in the neighborhood. Because over time, you will be talking to these people for months, for years. You will be in this neighborhood for a long time. Real estate investing is not a short-term game. So 2-3 years, they're going to be used to hearing you. Down the road, you're going to have told them about all the deals you've done. Tell them, drive by the property. Check this out. This is what I'm doing right now. Get them excited about being a part of your business. Does this make sense? We have people who sold to us just because they want to see us do what we did to another project. It's cool. People get excited about seeing other people successful. You become a friend of theirs. Even if you're just that annoying person at first, eventually you're that person they're waiting for the call. If they don't get the call every week, they're like, well, what happened? You didn't call me this week. What's going on? Be respectful, be on and off the phone quick. Some people will want to talk your ear off. Other days they'll want to be on and off. They got family in front of them, whatever. But some people, even the ones who hate you at first, will eventually say, what is this? Why are you so dedicated? What is it about my house? And that opens it up for you. You have the conversation. Give them the opportunity to like you. Everybody wants to be sold on you. At some point, when you're in front of somebody enough, they eventually say, who is this person? They want to know your story. Does this make sense? Have you ever been annoyed by somebody at some point and then you said, you know what? I got to figure out who they are. Yeah. Even the people you don't like in your life that you still have in your life, at some point you learned a thing or two about them. Fair to say? They're still there. We don't know why, but they're still there. It's okay to be that person. That person gets paid. At some point when they need something, you know about them, you're able to do it, you do. It's just how social currency works. People like to help each other. So cold calling happens 10 times. We call it the 10 days of pain. So you either call 10 times for an entire 2-3 months, or you can call every day, every single day for 10 days. It's the 10 days of pain. So the first 10 days of them being on your list is a painful experience for everybody. If you got 500 people, 5 hours a day for a couple of weeks, and they'll know who you are. It's a very quick way to build a relationship. I found that if you call once a week, yeah, you'll get a response eventually. But if you call every day, they will answer. They'll wonder, why are you still calling me? What's going on? Well, I'm pretty serious about buying your house. I don't know if you noticed, but I've been calling you every day. No, I noticed. Why? Why me? Why my house? Well, because I really like your house. And just go into it. You'll get a faster response, a better response by showing your assertiveness, by showing how interested you are. Same with the mailers. You go aggressive in the beginning, slowly drop off, create that vacuum. It's the same with the calls. You go aggressive in the beginning, and then weekly, and then bi-weekly, and then monthly. And the reason it becomes weekly, bi-weekly, monthly is because you've shifted to other lists, but that list is still there being operated. Does that make sense? And so they start to miss you. They start to think, well, maybe they're not showing as much interest in me. Anybody ever have one of those people follow them around, and then they stop following? You're like, where are they? Wonder why aren't they as interested in me anymore? It gives them now the opportunity to have the conversation with the desire. You've instilled the desire for them to know you. They can't help themselves. This is human nature, using the laws against them. They're getting mailers from you and they're getting phone calls, and then slowly both start to drip off. They start to drop away. And in their mind, the psychology says something about me isn't right with this person. Maybe my house isn't as nice as I thought it was. Maybe I've not been as nice as I should have been. All sorts of craziness goes on in the mind. We've experienced it. We've all experienced some of this insanity, right? Excellent. Next is ringless voicemail drops. Ringless voicemail drops are a way to substitute yourself from cold calling once you've mastered cold calling. Once you've no longer got the time to cold call because your list has gotten larger, you can do RVM. RVM is only suggested after you've mastered calls themselves. Once you've figured out how to have the conversation with people, this is the time to start doing RVM, because you're going to drop your voicemails in the same manner, same tone, same conversation that's worked really well for you in the past. You want to use your most well converting messages. You want a few of these, 3, 4 different styles, and you want to test them out each week, dropping out the 10 days of pain. And then afterwards, 1 week, every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, expanding out your campaign. This is 10 more hits. It's aggressive. It certainly is. I agree. But it's effective. RVM costs about 5 to 10 cents per drop. So if you got 500 and at the max it's 10 cents, you're talking $50 to do this. This is affordable. We agree? It's affordable. It's a little bit complex to set up. It takes a little bit to set up the phone numbers using CallRail and getting it directed to your phone. But once you've done it, it works on all your other marketing campaigns. Does that make sense? Excellent. So it's a system that you'd put in place to scale eventually. Next, we move into text messages. Text messages, again, in the beginning, it's a system, takes a little while to set it up, but you're using all that knowledge that you took from the cold calling to implement the right opener, the right conversation. Hey, do you still own a piece of real estate in this city? Because you're using the same city, using the same zip code, you can use that blast. Hey, do you still own the house in Fall River? Do you still own your house in Fall River? Or do you still own your house in, Ryan McDermott is in Dedham? So, so do you still own that house? And that is an opener that works in every zip code. Do you still own your house in this city? When you say that, they say, who is this? And the conversation's begun. Typically, your response rate for a cold text, and by the way, it's not so much a cold text because they've gotten your voicemails before, they've gotten your phone calls before, and they've gotten your mailers before. So it's not, they've recognized the phone number. So when you're sending it out, they're getting a response back. They're typically saying, hey, you've been calling me a lot. Haven't gotten back to you, but not interested. Yes, I still own the house, or no, I sold the house. Well, do you know anybody who's interested in selling? Beth, thank you for responding. If you change your mind, if you know somebody, or are you available tomorrow at 2? I'd like to take a look and give you an offer. All of the conversion comes from repetition. You can start working on your conversion, how to get people to allow you to go in and put offers based on figuring out the system to get in contact with them first. Does that make sense? You improve your conversion over time. The key is contact. Without contact, conversion doesn't matter. I don't care if you're the greatest salesperson on the planet. You put them in front of you and you'll sell them. It's about getting in front of them. And that's what all this conversation is about. You work on your conversion later. There's thousands of training programs that'll get you to close a deal. Bandit signs, mailers, cold calling, ringless voicemail drops, text messages. It's a $5,000 campaign. It's about $5,000 and 500 numbers. And it'll take you 2 to 3 months to execute. It's extremely reasonable. It's extremely possible. You may, after 3 months, get absolutely no deals because you're just a really cheap investor. But that's okay, because if you're working with the right real estate agent and you're sending them on all the appointments, they're going to put money back into that marketing fund and spend it on marketing again. So you can turn your 5,000 into 10,000. You can get it running for another 3 months. Does that make sense? So what we negotiate with our real estate agents, we say, look, every dollar, these are my leads, right? I'm licensed, so I have the ability to say, hey, just send me a commission. So they send me a referral fee. I'll take that referral and I'll roll it back into marketing. If you're not a licensed agent, you have the option to say, look, I'm spending a lot of money on marketing. If you can put your money into this campaign, I'll send you the invoice. You put your money into this campaign, 20% of whatever you make, and it goes right here. I'll send you the invoice, and you can send out a marketing invoice, say marketing for such and such. They put their money in separate from the sale. They look at the sale that they got. Maybe they made a $4,000 commission or a $5,000 commission. Your 20% is $1,000. So now they've taken a listing on something that you didn't want to buy. They put the offer in out there for you. That $1,000 goes back into the marketing campaign. You run another set of mailers. You run another RVM. You decide what mailing campaign or what RVM or what voicemail drop, what text message campaign is really working for you, and you can run it that way. You can also take that new money and run it into Facebook ads, depending on your skill with Facebook ads. I think this is my personal preference, I think that money spent on RVM and text messages is much better spent. I believe that Facebook is tough for sellers. It's better for buyers. You're gonna find more buyers that way. If you're wholesaling and you're looking for buyers, that's a good direction to go with. But until you have a deal, not so important. I would focus on spending your money in the campaigns that bring sellers in. Google Ads is complex. It takes finding the right person to be able to do it, and it can be extremely costly and with a very low return unless they know exactly what they're doing. So I'd suggest running it into more mailers in a new zip code, new area. Does that make sense? So if you start with 500, now you shift to a different market, go a little further out, same strategy, same campaign. You can hit the other one a year from now or 6 months from now, but you're just diversifying your resources a little bit more. You hit 5,000, 5,000, in markets like LA, Boston, New York, you're spending 10,000. There's just different numbers. But when you're outskirts of New York, outskirts of LA, Central Valley, if you're outskirts of Boston, Rhode Island, anywhere in Rhode Island, pretty much this will work. $5,000 is a good enough dollar amount to get you a deal. Does that make sense? It's about being strategic. It's about being strategic with your dollars, strategic with your system, making sure you're efficient with your time. And this doesn't take a ton of time. A good quality list of 500 names should take you about 5 hours to get through a week. We agree? With the dialer. So you're spending a little bit of money on the dialer. This is small money. When you think about a $5,000 budget, big money on the mailers, big money on small money on the dialer, maybe a little bit on the text messages, a little bit on the RVM, but the consistency, if you did the math, it's 6, 10, 10, 10. It's 36 hits from just being consistent for 2 weeks and then setting the mailers out automatic to continue afterwards. Man, I'm good. Give me a round of applause.
Give him a round of applause.
So the mentorship we talk about consistency. It takes about 2 months to be able to nail one of these marketing campaigns down, to really crush it, to really get through it. If you've been in the mentorship and we didn't set you up on this program, it's just because I didn't think it was the right thing for you at the time. Fair to say? You had other things we were working on that you've been very successful in. Excellent. If this is where you're at, the mentorship is the right thing for you to get into. I may change what you're working on when we sit down. You may think that this is the right strategy and it's going to make you all the money, and I may show you a simpler strategy that makes you more money. The mentorship is designed to build a community. It's designed to make you a millionaire. It's not designed to just add an extra $20,000 to your yearly salary. Does that make sense? Excellent. Dorena, can you drop the link for the mentorship? It's waltermonroe.com/mentor. And thanks to Bill Roberts, he has allowed me to sell it. And I love the opportunity to bring more people in. I'm on a mission to build 100 millionaires. To everybody in the mentorship and graduate program who believes that that is the only reason I do this. Excellent. You know me well. So I am by nature a very hardworking and then absolutely no working kind of person. I like to bust my butt in the beginning and then do absolutely nothing and watch it grow. I've been a gardener for a long time. Who here has ever planted anything? Excellent. So my first thing I did was go out back, dig a garden, and I planted tomatoes, cucumbers, lettuce, cabbage, beans, peppers, pumpkin, and a bunch of different other peppers. It was fun for me to do all the work, plant it, and then I'm terrible at de-weeding the garden. Who knows what that's like? It seems like even though you killed everything and you planted seeds, the weeds show up. So that's not what I'm good at. I'm good at the first part. I can set you up in the direction. I have hired coaches, affiliated with coaches who can take you to the next level. I have dozens of affiliates. Ryan McDermott is one of them. He's a mentor when it comes to helping people with their finances. He's a financial advisor by trade, but he also coaches with us and has his own program. There are other coaches who are specialized. They're real estate agents or they're attorneys or they're mental coaches, right? They have mindset or hypnosis or life coaches. We'll suggest that you use somebody depending on where you're at. But the mentorship's a strategy. It's 2 months to dial in. It may be a system like this, right? It may be a marketing system. It may be how to build your business. The idea is net worth. In 2 months, I can't make you a millionaire. Although a few of you have hit that status in the middle of the program, which you're already doing the work to get there. Some of you came into the program with the millionaire status and make us look really good. But it does take 3 to 5 years to be a millionaire. Hands to the camera if it's okay if it takes you 3 to 5 years to become a millionaire. You'd be okay with that. I agree. I was willing to put 7 years in. I was willing to put 10 years in, because when I started that drive down the street, I was broke. And I looked around and I saw millions all around me. And I realized all I needed to do was get my name on the deed. That's what the mentorship is all about. It lasts beyond the mentorship program. It lasts beyond the 8 weeks. We jump you into the mastermind program. Yes, we sell that too. Members of the mastermind, hands to the camera. By the way, this Saturday is this month's mastermind. Looking forward to seeing what you've been up to and what we can hold you accountable to for next month. What's great about the mastermind is it goes to 3 years. It gets us into where you're going to be a millionaire or multimillionaire. Some of you are already on that mission. And during the mastermind, I'll bring in the option for you to be a coach, to give back. So the mission of the 100 Millionaires is more than just you becoming a millionaire. It's about you becoming a millionaire and then offering the option to other people. My mission is to find 100 mentors, to build 100 millionaires who will build 100 millionaires, who will take the chalice up and say, yes, I'm going to go help another 100 people become rich. Here's the thing with this. You can't help but become rich if you're helping others get rich. Does that make sense? My first millionaires were because I was a real estate agent. I was selling people multifamily rental properties. And I just had a couple of clients that I made millionaires. And during that process, the 3 years that I was working on their portfolios, I was building my portfolio using the revenue from being an agent. Does that make sense? It's like being a wholesaler, helping other people get rich, and eventually rolling it into your own deals. I started with the strategy of making a few people rich, working with rich people, right? Rich people, helping them invest. And eventually I became one of those rich people. I was investing. Does that make sense? So the mentorship, it's expensive. It's very expensive if you're not serious about your success. It's very expensive if you like hanging around with negative people. It's very expensive if you don't like doing things that make you successful. But if you're the kind of person who wants to surround yourself with millionaires, if you're kind of the person who wants to be able to give back, to contribute to your community, to make a difference, to drive down the street. So that same street that I was driving down that I didn't own anything, a few years later, I'd either sold, flipped, or owned almost every house on that block. And it was a cool feeling to be able to, and people who've come down, they've seen it, right? Yeah, I'll take a round of applause. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And we've had the effect on other blocks. We've expanded to other blocks, other parts of the community. But that one, I'll never forget driving down that street saying, I'm going to own all these one day, or I'm going to sell them as an agent, or I'm going to flip some of these. And I have. Every single house on that street I've touched in one way or another and made a commission off of it. Give me a round of applause. Is it okay that I make a commission when I do a deal, when I've added value to other people? Hell yeah. So I've got here a representation of what $100,000 looks like. That's the profit I made on my first flip. The first property that I bought in 2013, when I sold it in 2016, that's what I walked away with. Do you know what the tax bill on that was? This right here. One $10,000 bill, because what happened was I lived in that house. I house hacked it. So I only had to pay taxes on the 2/3 that were not on my property. Does that make sense? Because I was in there 2 out of 5 years. Made all this, only paid taxes on this. It's possible. The first coaching program I paid for cost me this much. It was 10 grand. First coaching program I paid for was $10,000. You know how long it took me to buy it? 3 years. Do you know how quickly I knew it was the right program for me? 3 days. I knew it was the right program. I knew it. I was there for 3 days hanging out with the guys. I was like, oh my God, these guys were all rich. The coaches, the mentors, even some of the people in the room who were very wealthy. I was like, why are you still here? Why'd you buy? And they're like, well, you never know. I might learn another $1 million trick. I was like, whoa, what do you mean? You think it's you're already rich and you think it's a good investment. I was sold, but it cost 10 grand. And I went back to that event 5 times over 3 years before I finally spent my first $10,000 on coaching. to this day, I regret that move. To this day, I know that if I put it on a credit card and I bought it 3 years earlier, I'd be 3 years richer. And everybody who knows me knows I double my net worth every year. And so that would put me at over $10 million net worth right now. Who here could use an extra $10 million in their net worth? I agree. I wish I'd started sooner. 2017 was a hell of a year for me. 2017, I hired that coach, and that coach led me to 5 other coaches. And those 5 other coaches led me to 5 other coaches, to masterminds, eventually leveling up to the point where I was paying $35,000 to be part of groups. I racked up my credit cards to $150,000. Who's ever racked up credit cards that high? 150,000? Close. You've gotten up there. Yes. So I paid those off this year. Actually, technically, I owe $25,000 left. But they gave me the ability to earn in a year more than I had earned in my entire lifetime. In 1 year, my 3rd year into this, I earned $400,000. First year, I earned 100. Second year, I earned a quarter. The 3rd year, I earned 400,000. Do you know what it's like to write a $57,000 check to the government? It's not fun. But man, taking in and cashing $400,000, that is fun. And writing the check wasn't so bad after I realized my effective tax rate was under 20%. It was a cool feeling. So it's like you're getting all these and you owe Uncle Sam that much. So you weigh it out. Does this making sense so far? It sounds reasonable, right? Like I'm not being unrealistic with what's possible. I'm not saying you're going to make that $1 million in 1 year, but 3 years of acquiring property the right way, acquiring it at an 80% LTV or 20% discount, doing a little value add, getting that 10% in there, that 20% value add, especially if you hold them for 2-3 years and the market holds and the market appreciates like it has. And with all the dollar bills the government just dropped into the economy, just thousands, millions, trillions that is dropped into the economy. There's only 2 things that withstand inflation. That's gold and real estate. Precious metals and real estate withstand inflation. We're about to see the craziest inflation we've ever seen in America because we doubled our actual dollar existence. What's here previously was 2.8 trillion. We just threw in 3 trillion into the marketplace. That means your dollar is half its value. You just don't know it yet. But the real estate prices are still going up. Inventory is down because the people with all the money are buying real estate. They're hedging. They're protecting themselves. The people with all the money, Open Door, Zillow, Facebook, Google, these guys are investing in real estate in the craziest way. We've never seen portfolios of single families being picked up like this before. But we're seeing portfolios of single families picked up. We're seeing small portfolios of multifamilies picked up all across the country by large syndications, by investors who have money. Does this make sense? We've seen it happen. And so all you have to do to be successful right now is own a couple cash flowing properties and let the appreciation take its course. Now, I'm not saying buy based on appreciation. I'm saying buy based on cash flow. But trust me, if you hold them long enough, anybody who's been alive long enough to remember what houses were being sold for 30 years ago, 20 years ago, you could buy a house for 60 grand, right? 80 grand, 100 grand. These houses were available. Those same houses in slow markets are $200,000-$300,000, right? In Boston, they're $1 million. Same price. Go ahead, Bill. You got a.
Yeah, my very first flip back in 2010, I paid $40,000 for it, and we sold it for 159. We put 50 into it, so we made a nice little profit after, net profit. But today that house is worth 290.
Absolutely. 10 years, just 10 years of waiting, and the house doubled its ARV, doubled its value. What I'm suggesting is you build your net worth. Focus on your net worth. Buy a couple buildings that you could hold for the long term. You can hold them for a long enough time where eventually you can sell them. And I do believe in paper assets. I believe in the stock market for sure. I have a lot of my investments in mortgage-backed REITs, MLPs, things that pay monthly. I like utility companies. I like real estate investment trusts. Because they pay me between 8 and 16% return on investment. They're nice portfolios to hold. The problem is, unless you've got a ton of capital, doesn't really do that much. 10 grand out there making 16% is only going to pay you $160,000 a year. Does that make sense? It's not a lot. It's not enough to get excited about. I'm sorry, it pays $1,600. So it's still, yeah, it's nice, but it's negligible. Now, $100,000, yeah, it's like a minimum wage you had when you were 16 years old, right? You get 16 grand back. Or if you get an 8% return, you're only getting 8 grand back. Not enough for the government to even tax, right? 8 grand. But you get $1 million out there, it's an $80,000 income a year. You get $1 million out there, it could be $160,000 income a year with no work involved. And somewhere in the middle, we'll say it's $120,000 a year, right? You get a good 12% return. Ryan, how hard is it to find a couple of real estate investment trusts or utility companies and get a nice little portfolio spread out that's getting you 8 to 12%?
Not hard at all.
It's pretty reasonable.
Easy. Yep.
And you could even get some higher risk ones that are 16, 17% that are just high return companies. Yep.
Absolutely. Yep, for sure.
So Ryan's a financial advisor. If you want any information on how to do it, he'd hook you up. He knows what he's doing. He's also a coach in our mentorship program. So you get a free 30-minute session with him when you join up with the mentorship program. The mentorship is gualtermorello.com/mentor. I want you to be a part of it because it allows me to move my mission. I told Dorina earlier today, I have made the money that I want to make. I have done very well for myself. My business partner has done very well for himself. We're going to continue our flips. We're not going to stop doing it. It's too easy to continue. Does that make sense? All I do is I put my name on the deed and then the team takes care of it. I don't have to do anything. It literally, I put my name on the deed. I got good at that. I put my name on the deed and then I put them on the property management. I put their name on the property management. So the city's calling them for water. The city's calling them for work that needs to be done. The tenants are calling them. I got good at the best part of real estate investing. This secret tip: get your name on the deed, get somebody else's name on everything else. Get your name on the deed, get somebody else's name on everything else. Get somebody else to sign a contract, take all the responsibility. It does cost something, but that's okay. You just need to hold the real estate long enough to have the capital to switch it into either a DST, a Delaware Statutory Trust, which is a piece of real estate that you can 1031 into that gives you a 6 to 12% return on investment, or you pay the taxes and you shift it into a portfolio like we and Ryan were just talking about with REITs or MLPs or other dividend paying stocks, or you do what Bill Roberts has decided to do, which is do hard money loans, getting 12%, 2 points, 14%, 2 points, getting paid interest on real estate investment deals. Does that make sense? The idea is to hold the real estate long enough to sell it and get the capital gain and become a millionaire and go and run that into the right property for you, the right portfolio, something that's going to be passive. This is a 3-year strategy, 5-year strategy to get yourself retired. You could do what my mentor did and run it for a 20-year program and then live off of the rents. But while you're owing the government or owing the bank money, it's very hard to cash flow. We got the 50% rule. That's real. If you're pulling in $3,000 a month, 50% goes to expenses, taxes, insurance. And then the other 50%, you get to split with the bank. It pays your mortgage and it pays you whatever's left over. And the irony is you're usually the last to get paid. Does that make sense? What I have found is that using the 50% rule, you can build a very fast portfolio as long as you're making enough to pay the bank and have a little bit of capital reserve. Hold it long enough to pyramid. Has anybody heard of pyramiding before? Pyramiding is when you buy a piece of real estate and then a year or two later you sell it for 2 pieces of real estate. So you're doubling your value as you move along. When Ron and I started this, we picked up a 3-family, and by the end of the year, I think we had something close to 28 units. The end of next year, we had pushed back down to 14 units. And now this year we're up to, well, then we went to 42 and then we pushed down and then we pushed back up to 60. And our goal is to get down to 30 nearly paid off properties. So it's an expansion model, back and forth, back and forth. We're flipping, we're paying only capital gains. We're not paying income tax because income tax is a lot more. We're only paying the capital gains, which tends to be around 15 plus the tax of the state, so about 20%. If you're in New York, it's a lot more. If you're in Cali, it's a lot more. But in Massachusetts, Rhode Island, it's about 22% you end up paying back in capital gains after all your expenses. That strategy works, but it's a long-term strategy. You're not going to get rich overnight. We were just on the phone with my buddy Drew, who has a killer strategy. He's about to close $1 million, but he's going to pay about $400,000 in taxes. So he's got a big payback. Whereas when you build it via net worth, your taxes when you sell all these is only going to be around $200,000. If you, same million, same net, it'd be around $2 million because you aged them long enough. Does this make sense? It's a cool strategy, right? Getting rich takes time. It takes time. It takes knowledge. And it takes the right people. It doesn't necessarily take money, but if you have money, it's a hell of a lot easier. Does that make sense? The best investment that I ever made was in my coaching. It was in my mentors. It was in getting in the right rooms. It was buying cigars for people. It was buying drinks for people who were mentors of mine. It was working for free for people who offered the ability to teach me. It was reading the books. I read over 300 books. If I had them behind me, you'd see them. But I have my green screen up. And I think if I drop it for a second, you'll see the books are back there before it gets weird. Books. 52 Weeks to Wealth. We have 52 books that I think are the right ones for you. In the mentorship, we have 5 books plus my book. It's a requirement and it'll change your life. Who here has read the books? Excellent. Give yourselves a round of applause. You've read all 5? Read all 6? Excellent. What questions do you have? I'll open this up to questions. If you're wondering how to become a millionaire, if you're wondering how to find all the deals, if there's any questions about the marketing techniques we talked about earlier, this is your chance. Otherwise, sign up for the mentorship at walteranrola.com/mentor. I have no shame in my game. I will sell it all day long. Give everybody in the mentorship a round of applause. I love you guys. I would not know where you're at if I didn't set this program up, because prior to this mentorship, I refused to do coaching because I was retired and I am lazy. At the end of the day, I like to just enjoy myself. And I used to say, I'll never spend money on charity. I'll just keep reinvesting in my properties. I'll keep turning the money. And then one day I woke up and I realized I needed to give back. And that's where the mentorship was designed. It was about coaching and teaching, but I didn't want to do one-on-one because my time really is worth quite a bit. And the mentorship allowed me to do it at a cheap level. For $1,000, I can do a group session. I can have other coaches who are smarter than me involved doing their one-on-ones. And that was how it came to be. It was 1 day a week, 1 hour a week. And that's my charity. That's how I give back. I'm hoping when you become a millionaire, you'll take on the same gauntlet. You'll take on the same challenge of at least dedicate till you've built a few millionaires. At the end of this, yes, I'll be on the beach. I'll be building another business. I'll be chilling with the other millionaires that I've built, but I probably won't be teaching forever. Is that okay that I have another retirement plan for something like this? But I do want to build it. I want to make sure that I've done my part in the community. I've done my part in the world. I think that wealth building is for everybody. I think that everybody deserves a chance to be able to build something worth having, legacy income like Ron is always talking about for his family. He wants to be able to leave something for his daughters so that if he's not around, they end up with the wrong people or something happens in their lives, they still got money coming in. Building a trust fund for yourself to protect you from mistakes you've made. The trust fund allows you to just, okay, I get paid this every single month and it's pretty stable and I got a financial advisor making sure it's all right. Thank you, Dave. Appreciate you, brother. And that trust fund for your kids is even more stable. If you have kids, you should be building something for them, something they can't fuck up. And I use the F word honestly, right? Because we've seen wealth be built by great men, great women, and the children come along and mess it all up for them. Who here has heard of stories, seen it firsthand, bought properties off of those people? Yes. That's what happens. So you want to build something for your kids that they can't destroy. Build something that makes sense so that you live a good life and they live a good life. And if it takes you 5 years, if it takes you 7 years, 10 years, it's worth it. You're worth it. The life you can live is amazing. I hang around with people who are retired all day. You know why? You learn a lot from retired people. You learn a lot from people who've built empires, lost empires, who were consistent with their jobs, consistent with their investments, and got paid either a bonus at the end that what is it? I'm too young to know what these things are called. What is it when you get paid something for working at a company for a long time?
Golden parachute.
You get a golden parachute. It's a
Pension?
pension.
Pension.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Ryan. So the golden parachute of the pension doesn't exist for a lot of us. So you've got to build something for your kids, and a good trust fund may just be that vehicle. And building the capital to put into it may be what helps hedge against all the inflation that we see coming. And I think real estate is the right vehicle to do that with. I think you have to be reasonable. You can't try to build this thing overnight. You've got to build it stable. Building a good marketing campaign that allows you to get access to deals, building relationships with realtors, which helps them make money and allows you to find more deals. It's a good scalable business. If you're a real estate agent, teaching this method to investors will help build your business and theirs at the same time. Teaching them how to invest, teaching them how to do marketing. If you're an investor, but you don't have the time to do all this, at least have an understanding of it. Have gone on to yellowletters.com or gone to MLS and built a list. At least have an understanding so you can teach other wholesalers how to do it so that they can do the work for you, and make sure you pay them well. Know that the deals are far and few. It's not as much as it used to be. Offer to pay them more than everybody else, and they'll make sure they send you the deal. Does that make sense? In the mentorship, my guide, my job is to bring you through to millionaire status. I want more people. Building 100 millionaires is hard. A lot of people drop off. A lot of people decide that they can't do it. Life gets in the way. They have kids. They break a leg. They just have a mental issue. So if you're interested, I'm interested. If you're not, save us both the time and don't sign up for something that's going to cost you the ability to make $1 million. Go and watch Netflix. Go hang out with your friends, drink beer, watch sports. It's okay. That's a lifestyle choice. But if you're looking to have an impact, to give back, to hang out with cool people like this, everybody on our mentorship, then yeah, make the investment. I challenge you to do it. I challenge you to take on the spend of $1,000, the commitment of 8 weeks of your life with amazing people, reading amazing books, talking to coaches who are millionaires. Maybe it might rub off on you accidentally. There are worse fates for your $1,000. I have spent thousands on the wrong things, on the wrong marketing campaigns, you know what I'm talking about. I have spent thousands in the wrong areas, and then I have spent a couple thousand in the right areas. I've bought the wrong coaching programs, but without paying that money, I wouldn't know the difference. I have bought the right coaching programs that made up for all the other ones 10 times over. In fact, the most expensive coach I ever paid for, he told me, he said, look, if I can teach you how to get back what you spent within a year, would that be worth it? I said, well, yeah. He's like, how much are you making right now? I told him it was 300,000. He's like, what if I could get you to double that? If I could get you to double that, would you be happy with it? I said, well, hell yeah. He said, well, what if I could just get you an extra 100,000 that you weren't going to make without me? An extra 100,000 or the ability to be more significant? Which would you prefer? And I told him, I was like, can I get both? Can I get 100,000 and be more significant? And he said, yeah, if that's the choice, if that's what's important to you, we could do that. And he said, would it be worth the 35,000? And I was like, well, yeah, all day, of course, because I don't know if you know this, but after you teach me it, I can do it every year, over and over and over. And so that's what I've learned, is what you learn, what you put in your head, the books, every book you read in the mentorship, in the 52 weeks of wealth, every training you go to, every Saturday morning training, you're building something. You're building something inside you that nobody can take away. Maybe you don't utilize it the right way this year. Maybe, week 34 came by, you didn't utilize the principle the right way and missed out on an opportunity this year. What's to stop you from reviewing it next year? What's to stop you from reviewing it a week later and implementing it? There's nothing. Nobody can stop you from reviewing the things you've already learned, from putting them back into place. But if they're not in there, you don't have them play. Does that make sense? It's like You see a real estate deal, but you don't have the money, don't know how to do it, and you let it go. But 3 years later, you have access to all the money and you know how to raise capital and you know how to do deals, and you don't find that deal anymore. Bill, you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's about being the right person, and being the right person starts with having the right mindset, starts with having the right skill set, starts with having the right network. With the right network, you can do any deal because you just got to ask them the right questions. They'll connect you with the right people. They'll connect you with the money, the contractors, the estimates, and that's how you make it happen. So that's what the mentorship's all about. Thank you so much
Thank
for the
you.
opportunity to sell it. Big thanks to Bill Roberts for letting me come out, hang out with your people, doing this event. Bill, you're an amazing asset to our community. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, brother.
Oh, you're welcome, Gualta. Thank you. A good round of applause for Gualta, please. I mean, this guy just rocks it. And let me tell you, his mentorship program, if you don't spend the money on the mentorship program and learn quicker, you're going to spend the money over years. And that's how long it's going to take to do this. This business is not, you need a coach. You need a mentor. You absolutely do. And I signed up for a mentor immediately out of the gate when I did this. And it was just months before I landed my first deal. So, and I know people and hung with people and still do that don't want to pay for that mentorship or coaching with anybody. And it's a foolish mistake. So dig, scrap, save. If you don't do it now, you do it in 8 weeks. You don't do it now, you do it in 6 weeks, but just do it. Gualta's the man. And a funny little story. Last week, I was listening to Gualta on a Saturday morning webinars, and I was working around my house. So I had it on my phone, but I had my phone in my pocket, and I had run upstairs to grab something. And at the moment that he said something cool, I said to myself out loud, because I talk to myself out loud a lot. I said to myself, you remember this, Gualta? I said to myself, man, am I missing an opportunity? And Gualta goes, Bill Roberts, what opportunity are you missing? So for some reason, I unmuted myself while I was upstairs walking around, and he heard me talking. And the opportunity is to coach with somebody like Gualta. And I've been doing this for 10 years. We've flipped a lot of homes. I've had several partners. And right now I have a partner with Elliot Schneider for hard money. If anybody here needs money for any of your flips or projects, reach out to me at bill@homeventuresma.com, and we'll get you hooked up and see what we can do. It's got to be a deal, of course, but we like to take care of people. So even though I've done all that, I still have coaches today, and I still need more coaches and more mentorships. And Gualta just makes me shine, man. Just do. I appreciate you. So
Thank you, Bill.
thank you, everybody, man. This has been a great meeting, a great subject to talk about. And I think you covered it and you did a really good job. So another round of applause for Gualta.
Thank you, Bill. When is the next one? Can we expect you to do another event soon?
Yeah, we're going to do it in a month. I haven't locked it down yet, but we're going to do it in another month. And like I said earlier at the beginning, we're talking about getting together outside, but it may still be a little early for some people, and we certainly want to respect that. And masks will be involved, of course, and the Fireside Restaurant where we have these live prior to COVID. I've approached them, and they are doing something, but I'm just cautious on how we do that out of respect for everybody. So
Absolutely. Yeah, and the state of Massachusetts is they're still limiting how many people. So yeah, if we do another Zoom call, I'd like to invite everybody back. Bill's going to have another guest, and his trainings, he's very good at picking awesome people to speak.
Awesome.
I speak from personal experience.
That's right, man. That's right. That's right. And that's okay. Is that okay to be proud of yourself? Is that okay to be happy and share your wealth with everybody? Are you kidding me? Man, it's so great. But Gualta, thank you. Everybody, thank you for attending tonight. And my email is bill@homeventuresma.com. Just send me an email. I'll add you to the emails that go out that let you know about these meetings, so that we don't have to run around and chase, and you don't have to run around and chase trying to figure out when the next meeting is. We'll get you right on that email as soon as tomorrow. So that's going to be it.
Thank you, Bill. For everybody in the mentorship, you know the number for the call. I will see you all there at 8 o'clock. Cheers to your success. For everybody else, sign up for the mentorship so you can come hang out with us. Looking forward to seeing you guys there.
Peace.
When you're
Night, everybody.
choice,
Peace.
always work with the best.